A friend texted me early Tuesday morning, post holiday weekend, with 3 links. Oof, had a lot of reading to do very early. TechCrunch declaring Google's search as you know it is over. A Tech Radar piece comparing the new AI overhaul to don't look up. The asteroid in this case is Reddit. And Search Engine Journal's latest piece, SEO Pulse, which broke down Google's May core update on top of the IOAI redesign. So many letters. Whew. At the end of that list of links, she said, "Have you talked about this yet?" I told her yes, for almost a year. We've been calling it visibility engineering ever since the first credible research began landing last summer, showing people were swapping Google for ChatGPT. Her reply is why this episode exists. She told me she knew I'd been talking about visibility engineering forever. At this point, she said it felt like common sense. But Google has just announced something huge. And even though she'd read everything SpinSucks has published, she hadn't connected what I'd been saying to what Google just said because they're not being called the same thing. And truth be told, they should be calling it visibility engineering because I was first, but whatever, they'll Google, okay. She compared it to her mom saying real when what she means is extension cord. Same object, different word. If your mom asks for the real and you don't speak real, you stand in the garage staring at the wrong shelf. And actually, that visual makes me laugh. That is the whole problem captured in one visual, and it's much bigger than the text my friend sent. This, my friends, is part 4 of the Peso operating system series. Part 1 argued that Peso has graduated from a framework to an operating system. Part 2 named the AI era discipline problem that quietly undoes most teams' best work. Part 3 walked through the 6 stages of the Peso model maturity ladder. In between, we're diagnosing award-winning brands and campaigns. We started with Budweiser, and last week we diagnosed Liquid Death, who is sitting at the very top of the Peso model maturity ladder. So, in part 4, and on this week's SpinSucks podcast episode, I want to talk about visibility, specifically the 2 gaps almost nobody is naming and how to start closing both.
If you're a communications pro who works hard, doesn't compromise quality, and gets the job done, welcome home. We'll share our tips, tricks, and stories, and together we will change the face of PR. Spin sucks, but we don't. With the Spin Sucks podcast, here's Jenny Dietrich.
Welcome back to the SpinSucks podcast. I'm Jenny Dietrich. Before we get started, I have a little tidbit for you. Did you know that if you can't finish watching right now, you can subscribe to the audio version of this show? We're on all the platforms where you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Apple, or you can subscribe to our newsletter at spinsucks.com and receive it in your inbox personally from me every Tuesday morning. The external visibility gap is the one everyone is talking about right now. It's whether your brand actually shows up where buyers, journalists, candidates, regulators, and investors are now looking for you. That part is real, and Google itself just confirmed it. AI overviews now reach more than 2.5 billion monthly users. AI mode has surpassed 1 billion monthly users, with queries are doubling every quarter. ChatGPT, for comparison, sits at 900 million weekly active users. For those of you who don't do math, that's 3.5 billion monthly users. So it has surpassed AI overviews and AI mode. Google is rolling out an interface that builds custom widgets inside the search results page, information agents that run 24/7 on your behalf, and many apps you can use inside search the way you speak. So no more keywords. Liz Reed, Google's VP of Search, is calling it the biggest change to the search box in more than 25 years. Google, of course, is not going to let search die. It's just different now. We're moving further into a world where visibility is far better than clicks. You already know this, of course. The industry has been talking about how to market in a zero-click world for a couple of years now. But this news from Google makes it more imperative that you have a strategy to replace those links and show up wherever someone asks a question that you are best suited to answer. If your content doesn't earn its way into an AI overview, an AI mode citation, an information agent monitoring loop, or a generative UI module, it might as well be in a filing cabinet, never to be seen or heard from again. But there is a second gap. And this is the one my friend's text exposed, the one almost nobody is talking about, the one that's about to slow your team down inside your own organization. Here is what I keep running into in client conversations, during workshops, and in SpinSucks community threads. We are doing the work. We are reinforcing earned media for citations, not for clicks. We are auditing owned media surfaces for AI readability. We are rebuilding shared and paid plans around discovery rather than impressions. And we are attending webinars on visibility engineering and answer engine optimization. Hi, Martin Waxman and the IABC crew. That was a well spent 30 minutes last month. We're doing the work. And then we walk into the CMO's office or the executive team meeting or a board call, and someone slides a Wall Street Journal article or a TechCrunch article across the table and says, "Are we doing anything about this?" And we say, "Yes, we are. We've been doing it for months, maybe even a year or two." The CMO says, "But that doesn't sound like the thing this article is talking about." I would bang my head on the desk right now if I could, but I don't want to mess up my hair. Because it's not being called the same thing, not because you're not doing the work. You're doing the work. We're doing the work. I promise you. We just need to come to the same definition. And that is the internal visibility gap. And it's costing you credibility, budget, and a seat at the table at exactly the moment we should be gaming all three. This is the same problem we consistently see where people take the self-diagnosed PACEL model diagnostic and something I'm trying to solve. Marketers and communicators tell us we run PACEL as a system, and then they score at the very bottom of the maturity ladder. Not because you're not doing the work, but because the work isn't being named, it isn't being sequenced, it isn't being integrated, and isn't being documented in a way that leadership can actually see. Visibility engineering has the exact same problem, just on a faster news cycle. The industry is currently using a bunch of different terms for substantially the same body of work: generative engine optimization, or GEO, answer engine optimization, or AEO, AI search optimization, AI discovery readiness, agentic readiness. Even Google's own product teams couldn't agree. Search Central is telling SEO experts that they don't need to bother with LLM's text. The Lighthouse team is flagging sites that don't have that text. Google is rebuilding search around AI while simultaneously telling people the fundamentals still apply. The infrastructure is changing faster than the guidance can. When the people building it can't agree on what to call it or what's actually changing, the people consuming the news, your CMO, your CEO, your board, your clients, certainly cannot connect their internal work to it, which means the gap was never about whether you're actually doing the work. It's about whether what makes sense to the people who sign the checks and make the decisions. We've been using visibility engineering since last summer. While it's not substantially different than all of the acronyms being thrown around, it's more about the practice of making your brand legible to AI systems and to the humans they serve. It is not SEO with a fresh coat of paint. It's not even GEO or AEO. It's using those practices combined with your earned and owned media chops to ensure you are visible in all of the places the LLMs and the humans look. It is re-engineering how the four PACEL model channels, paid, earned, shared, and owned media, work together so that the system, Google AI mode, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, whatever comes next, can recognize, cite, and route back to your authority. As consumers, we're no longer typing running shoes into our search bars. We're now asking AI, almost always by voice, what are the best running shoes for someone with a narrow foot and a high arch who wants to run 4 half marathons this year on the pavement? This is not a keyword search. It is a brief that is highly specific, in this instance, to me. And your searches are even more specific to what you're looking for in that moment. It's an operating system shift. If your marketing or communications operation isn't built to answer briefs across paid, earned, shared, and owned channels at once, you will not be visible in the new system, full stop. If you do nothing else when you finish listening to this episode, do these 4 things in the next 2 weeks. Number 1, name the work inside your organization. Choose one term, visibility engineering, AI discovery readiness, GEO, whatever, and use it consistently with your CMO, your CEO, your board, and your clients. The point isn't which word wins. The point is that when an executive reads a TechCrunch article and asks if you're on top of it, the term in the headline matches the term in your roadmap. Of course, I am quietly lobbying for visibility engineering because it actually describes the work that we do, but I won't fight you. Use the term you'll actually use. Second, send proof of the work you've already done. Pull together one short brief, half a page, no more, showing the visibility engineering work you've already done that maps to these recent announcements. Don't write it for communicators. Write it for the executive who just read Sarah Perez's TechCrunch piece on their phone in the car line. Name the services, AI overviews, AI mode, information agents, generative UI. Name the actions you've taken. Name the gaps you would close with more investment. This is the document that quietly gets you the budget conversation you've been waiting for. Number 3, run your brand through at least 4 different AI tools. The free versions are fine, and ask each the actual questions your customers or clients ask, not your keywords, their briefs. So, for instance, what's the best PR agency in the Midwest for a regulated B2B brand under $50 million ARR? That's a great brief, not PR agency Chicago. Write down what comes back, write down what doesn't, write down what's wrong. You can also use a tool like Brandy, B-R-A-N-D-I, Brandy, to automate and track your visibility. You can't measure what you don't track, so get to measuring. And number 4, decide what comes off the plate. This is the hard one, so most teams skip it. In fact, I just said to the leadership team here as we're going through planning for the second half of the year, you must bring 3 stop doing items to our meeting. We want to do all of the things all of the time. I'm as guilty of it as anyone. I like to do all the things too. The same thing goes for you. If your team is spending the bulk of its time chasing impressions or, heaven forbid, AVEs and clicks on dying surfaces, the visibility engineering won't work. It won't happen. It can't. So look at your last quarter's calendar, choose 3 things to retire. I know it's uncomfortable. Do it anyway. When we mapped the Peso Model Operating System series back in April, we held this slot for the visibility gap because we knew the new news cycle would break something between May and June. The Magic 8 Ball that sits on my desk is a true predictor of the future. What it didn't tell me, though, is that it would arrive in this neatly beautiful tied package with a beautiful red bow at the top. Google has now done the rhetorical heavy lifting for us. The question of whether AI is reshaping discovery is closed. Even your most skeptical executive knows that this is where we are. So the real work is closing the internal visibility gap so the communications function gets credit for the visibility engineering it's been quietly doing for a year and gets resourced for the next 12 months of it. Next week, we'll go inside the enterprise readiness side of this, specifically what senior buyers and senior internal stakeholders actually need to see before they'll greenlight visibility engineering investment. If credibility is what got you here, readiness next week is what closes. Until then, name the work, send the proof, audit what AI sees, and decide what comes off the plate. If you'd like to chat about visibility engineering and using it inside your organization, join us in the SpinSucks community. It's a great place to get advice, brainstorm ideas, and build real relationships with your peers. You can find us at spinsucks.com/community. That's spinsucks.com/community. And make sure you follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. We're posting tips, how-tos, cheat sheets, shit Jimmy says, and more every week. I'll see you next week. Bye.